Every public body shall give notice of the date, time, and location of its meetings other than special, emergency, or continued meetings at least 3 working days in advance by posting such notice on its official public government website, if any, placing such notice in a prominent public location at which notices are regularly posted, and placing such notice at the office of the clerk of the board, or in the case of a public body that has no clerk, at the office of the chief administrator. Reasonable notice under the circumstances of a special, emergency, or continued meetings shall be given contemporaneously with the notice provided to the members of the policy body conducting the meeting. Ms. Tanner, has today's special call meeting been properly certified?
Yes, Madam Chair, on October 25th, 2019, notice was provided fulfilling all criteria of VA Code Chapter 37.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Tanner. I duly call this meeting to order. Let's proceed with the roll call, item 1.02.
Basine?
Here.
Campson? Here. Clanton?
Present.
Smith?
Here.
Martin?
Here.
Jordan?
Here.
Gabriel?
Present. Okay. Item 1.03, purpose of the meeting. The purpose of today's meeting is a special called meeting brought forth by Ms. Basine, Mr. Jordan, and Ms. Smith. There is a memo that was sent to board members. Please reference the memo. Next, item 1.04, motion to enter into closed session. Is there a motion to enter into closed session?
Move that we enter into closed session.
I second that motion.
Okay, Jordan and Basine. Ms. Tanner, can you please read the motion?
Move that members of the school board go into a closed session for the purposes which are set out in subsection A of section 2.2-3711 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act as amended for A, discussion or consideration of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific officers, appointees, or employees of the Norfolk Public Schools, etc., pursuant to subsection 1 of the above cited code section. The subject of this portion of the session concerns evaluation of and review of records concerning specific individual, prospective, or current officers or employees of the school board. B, consultation with legal counsel pertaining to specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by counsel pursuant to subsection 8 of the above cited code section. The subject of this portion of the motion is consultation with legal counsel concerning legal matters related to the personnel matters identified above.
Okay, now we will move into discussion before we enter into the closed session. What we will do is every member will have 2 minutes to speak. Dr. Birdsong will have an opportunity to respond at the end. And then if there is a need for a rebuttal, every board member will have 1 minute for rebuttal. Ms. Tanner will be keeping time. We're going to start with Ms. Basine, and then we will go around the room so that everybody has an opportunity to share. Okay, that's how we will proceed.
Can you review that again? I mean,
Sure. So we made the motion, there's a second. We always have discussion before we
Right.
enter into the
right.
whatever.
Right.
And then, so what I'd like to do is I'm limiting our time for discussion. Everybody is going to get 2 minutes. Dr. Birdsong will be able to have any kind of response at the end of the 2-minute discussion. And once all board members have spoken, and if there's a need for a rebuttal, then we will do a 1-minute rebuttal. And that's to keep track of time. And everybody will have an opportunity to speak if they wish to.
Okay. I appreciate everyone being here today for the special call meeting that we called to discuss the administrative and legal response around the circumstances of a specific individual that's providing services to Norfolk Public Schools. Since September 11th, we've had some more information, at least for those of us who had requested additional information, to get the facts related to the statements that have been put out by the division, which a couple of us were not comfortable with until receiving those facts. So today I'd like to, my goal is to receive clarification on that, on the information that we received previously, and going forward, what we're going to do about the information before us.
Okay. Ms. Campson?
92% of the schools across the state of Virginia are fully accredited. In Norfolk, only a little over 60% are accredited. But that's not the emergency that brought us here today. We have huge achievement gaps. Our high poverty kids are 20% below. Our special needs kids are so far below, some of them at 30%, it makes you want to cry, but that's not the reason that we have an emergency meeting. Our reading scores that have been stagnant or trending down dropped dramatically this year, but that's not the reason we're here. We have maintenance problems in our schools that we've been reading about in the newspaper because we have no authority to collect money ourselves, and the city and the state have been kicking the school maintenance can down the road for half a century. But that's not why we're here today either. Our job is to provide a high-quality education and a safe learning environment for our children. But we're not here to discuss that again today either. We're not discussing anything that's centered on children. Last week, the Virginia Pilot wrote 2 excellent editorials, one that addressed the reading literacy problem, and the other one that addressed the deference of school maintenance and how major those problems were. If you haven't read them, you should go back and read them. So I'm disappointed that once again, I'm called in for items that have nothing to do with student academic achievement, reading literacy, or school maintenance. Thank you.
Ms. Martin?
This special meeting was called under policy BDB, which states that the school board holds special and continued meetings when necessary. It's necessary, of course, to have a procedure by which board members can call a special meeting when critical matters come up that the board must deal with before the next regular meeting or that requires immediate attention for decisions to be made and actions to follow. There is nothing necessary, immediate, or actionable about this meeting, and I urge each of you to review our school board goals and priorities as a reminder of what we need to focus on for the success of our students. Period.
Ms. Smith?
This meeting is important and necessary, and I support it.
Mr. Jordan?
School boards govern through policy. What happens in the boardroom impacts what happens in the classroom. I'm proud of the work over the last 7 years as school board member to work on addressing equity, dealing with students in schools in challenging environments. I was pleased to spend a few days at the Council of Great City Schools Conference this past week, addressing important issues of literacy and academic achievement and closing gaps. Proud of attending meetings, have pretty good attendance, of making our facilities committee meetings where we're addressing a great deal of concerns around facilities. Was glad to be a part of the work for the Facilities Conditions Index. I don't see these things as isolated. I see them all as connected. I was a part of calling this meeting because I do think that the information that was shared impacts my oath of office. And I thought it was important to always try to uphold my oath of office. And so that's why I thought it was important to be a part of calling the meeting. I'm glad we're here. I hope that we get an opportunity to share and discuss the information, and we will continue to move forward to do the things that are necessary for children, no matter what school they attend. So, thank you.
Mr. Clinton?
I agree with my colleagues and what's been stated so far. Our number one goal is student achievement. And then there's nothing in what I heard and what I read that's calling us here to be focused on student achievement. We have so many things that as a board, our community, our constituents, our teachers, our parents are demanding for us to be focused on. And we keep, in the old adage of what I'd heard, with my mom and my grandmother would probably say, we are focusing on the minor. and making it a much greater thing. We have been consistently told since we've been here that we work as a governance team and that we address and we bring items up and we allow our administration to take care of those things that we address and that we point out. To call a meeting here today and it not be focused on student achievement, it troubles me. This is the second time that I've been on this board that we've had a special call meeting used, an emergency meeting, used rather than going through the channels that we already have in place to add items for discussion on the agenda. And quite frankly, to call a meeting and not be talking about some of the more pressing things that are affecting our students and affecting our school division troubles me. And I'm here because I have an oath, and we all took an oath, as Mr. Jordan mentioned. And our oath of office is to make sure that we run this governance team and we run this district, and that we do things in accordance. So I'm just concerned that we're being called here again for what I consider really majoring in the minor and not being focused on our number one goal, which is student achievement. So that's just my piece here. I'm here because I need to be here, but I'm not happy about why we're here and not being focused on student achievement.
Thank you. I'll be voting no to enter into closed session today. Based on our prior closed session discussions, Dr. Birdsong, her administration, and Mr. Cloud, they have provided me with all of the information that I need to be assured that the matter is handled appropriately. And if the three of you all have information, why haven't you shared it with Dr. Birdsong or Mr. Cloud? Our board just returned from what I thought was an open-minded, candid governance training where we all agreed on an established protocol on how to place items on the agenda. This could have been one of them. But this special meeting called by the three of you is not an emergency, and it does not bring NPS any closer to closing achievement gaps or attracting and retaining quality staff. In fact, it does the opposite. This is attention-seeking behavior, and it's poor governance practice. Our focus needs to be on student achievement. Dr. Birdsong, do you have any comments that you would like to share in response to what has been said?
Absolutely. I'm not sure specifically what new information may be out there, but I'd like to reiterate that I have been fully transparent in everything that I know, that I am aware of, and I would not intentionally not share information. And my administration, I believe they have as well. And I will continue to be as open and honest as I can.
Okay.
And again, I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Mr. Jordan, we'll start with you and go back around the room if there's a need for rebuttal.
No, I mean, I don't, this format of rebuttal is new to me, so I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be rebutting. I'll just simply say that, as you mentioned, that we did go through governance training. We did talk about how things get on the agenda. We haven't finished that process yet. We haven't implemented it yet. We took effort to follow the policies and protocols. Even as we've come through governance training, it was just a meeting the other day. Got a notice on Sunday night about a meeting. Just tried to find out what was on the agenda and who was invited, and still haven't been able to get that information. So this intent was not to get into some back and forth rebuttal. We just simply felt, at least I'll say that I simply felt that there was information that we asked for. Others said they weren't interested in information. We received the information, we reviewed the information, we just wanted to get some clarity, and that's it. And so we called a meeting to try to get the clarity, but because it involved, as I said earlier, what I thought was my oath of office, I sought counsel and advice, and it was recommended that this would be the process that we take. And I didn't think that waiting until November 13th, after we've waited since September 11th to try to address the concern, warranted it. So we called the meeting.
Okay. Ms. Smith and Ms. Tanner, can you do the timer? Yep.
I have no rebuttal.
Okay. Sampson.
My title is Norfolk School Board Member. It's not Norfolk School Board Investigator or even Norfolk School Board Super Sleuth. I'm given the information at the closed sessions by Mr. Cloud and Dr. Birdsong, all the information I need for my role as school board member, not investigator. I know that some of you asked for some more highly confidential documents that weren't available for FOIA. As you may recall, I declined to have those sent to me, as did other members of the board. So we do have a problem sometimes with leaks. If those highly confidential documents are leaked, I don't want to be involved in the investigation. I want to just focus. If you want to have a meeting at any time about student achievement, about achievement gaps, about deferred school maintenance, I'm here. I'll beat you in the door. But don't keep calling me in for this kind of stuff that has nothing to do with our students. Our job is to provide every child in Norfolk with a high-quality education and a safe learning environment.
Okay.
Call me in for those meetings. Thank you.
Ms. Basine.
As Mr. Jordan stated, we took an oath of office to uphold the law. And there are laws around how we must govern and how, and this is related to that. So if there are issues related to potential violation of policies, violation of state law, we need to talk about that. And yes, it may not seem like it's directly impacted or directly impacting student achievement or deferred maintenance, but it is, because it is talking about the laws that we took an oath to uphold. And that is critically important to our board governance. So that is why we pushed to have this discussion now, so that we could share the information that we had before us, that we chose to get the information that we should have had a month and a half ago. So I see it as doing our due diligence to review this information. And I hope that once we have this discussion today, that you all will be in agreement.
Mr. Clinton.
On the surface, what we're hearing, both due diligence, the law, sounds like we should all be in agreement on it. But there's also an underlying thing that I have an issue with, and that might even be the individual that's involved in it, and even the connection in a past election, that there might be several undercurrents that might be going on here. I don't want us hiding behind the oath of office that we take. We uphold it. We all took an oath that we're going to serve. But the number one thing there is to do by our students. And being called in here today is not about doing what's best by our students. I agree with Ms. Campson. I'm the first one. Want to be there. We're talking about moving achievement. We took an entire argument about the accountability plan. We finally have it. And it's consistently, yes, there's 3, 4. But I'm going to be honest. Today, there's no reason why we should be in this meeting. No reason.
I appreciate everyone's comments. But if we learned anything in Charlottesville, it was about building trust and about how important trust is with our governance team. And I feel that if there is information that you all have, then it should be brought forth to the superintendent. Mr. Cloud is our attorney. He is very well renowned statewide on Virginia law. He attends all of the training sessions. And I look to him for advice, for counsel, because as Ms. Campson said, I'm board member. I am not lawyer. I am not policy expert. And I have called him and asked him repeatedly, Mr. Cloud, is there anything that I am missing here? Is there anything that Dr. Birdsong is missing? Please let me know. He has shared nothing. And so, again, being here for this meeting, I disagree with it, and I will be voting no. Ms. Tanner, please call the roll.
Basine?
Aye.
Campson?
No.
Clanton?
No.
Smith?
Aye.
Martin?
No.
Jordan?
Aye.
Gabriel?
No. The motion fails. We will not be going into closed session. The next item on the agenda is matters of the board, item
Madam Chair.
3.01.
Madam Chair, I move to adjourn.
I
There-
second.
Ms. Tanner, there's a motion to adjourn the meeting. Please call the roll.
Wait,
No.
just a minute. Just a minute. Just a
No,
minute.
no, sir.
First of all, we called a special meeting.
No,
You saying we can't do matters of the board on the agenda?
Order.
nope.
You're saying we're not going to follow the agenda?
Point of order.
No.
Robert Rules of Order allows for a privileged motion, which is an adjournment.
Okay.
It is undebatable. It immediately moves into a vote.
Well,
What?
fine.
Basine?
Nay.
Campson?
Yes.
Clanton?
Aye.
Smith?
No.
Martin?
Aye.
Jordan?
Nay.
Gabriel?
I move to adjourn. Aye.
So, Ms. Basine, Ms. Smith, if you all would stay back, we'll continue our conversation. And 3 members meeting in public is a public meeting, so
Without
we'll stay
duly
continued.
notice. You do not have notice
Wait.
for a meeting. This meeting has been adjourned, and any additional meeting outside would be outside of the Sunshine Law.
We,
That's not true, but okay.
that's not
It-
true, yeah.
It has not been duly
We called the
called.
meeting,
We're not gonna argue.
yeah, but they
I do sense some tension in here, though.